and the rest of them. I think at some point he now fell into another path, so he couldn't vote for the other time. But then by 1999, he contested again and won, but was sworn in as the vice president. There's alongside Olusegun Obasanjo, who became the president of Nigeria in 1999. But we know how the history went. At some point, he was impeached, according to stories, and then he has actually been in the race for presidency for several times, 5 good times. And he hasn't won. And he's doing it again. He's doing it again, and so many people are saying this is his last shot. At that same.
Now, who are we to decide? Who are we to decide that?
Yeah, we can't decide that. Except
if a man comes, I mean, he has done this like over and over for 5 times. Who are we to decide if this is his last or anything?
Not? So the thing there is that he has seen it all. Even though he has not been on the top finally, he has actually been on the top as the vice president. He has seen it all. He knows it. He knows the Nigerian polity. He knows how to. He has 4 wives. For you to know, so
that is not a criteria.
It's not a criteria. It's not a criteria for. So
that is not a criteria.
He has been able to mix, into the Nigerian polity very well. And why I'm saying this is because of his kind of person. Like I learned, he's been in custom. He's been in so many things. He even has, some other establishments. But we think Nigerians will decide. Nigerians will actually pick who
we have the power. The people have the power.
Who is right for them.
Exactly.
And if he's right for us, cool. But if he's not right, other way.
Now, still talking about Tinubu, in the first post-transitional Lagos State gubernatorial election, Tinubu won by a wide margin as a member of the Alliance for Democracy, or the People's Democratic Party's Dapo Showumi, and all People's Party's Nasiruddin Kekere Kun. I hope I got that well. I pronounced that. 4 years later, he won re-election to a second term over the PDP's late Funshaw Williams, by a reduced margin. Yes, and like George rightly said, I don't know if being married and of course having more than one wife is a criteria for becoming president of Nigeria. But these are people that we know have been, in politics for a very long time. And today, 2023, they made the list once again. And of course, like George rightly said, the people have the power to decide who leads them in the next 4 years.
I think the people seems to play down on their strengths, or seems to have been playing down on their strengths.
Why? I don't understand.
Because I know why I'm saying this is that it is the people who we choose. It is the people who actually chooses after every 4 years to say this is the person who wants to lead us. And then after they choosing, then the person becomes the one to dictate their lives and whatever they do. But many a times we have forgotten, or rather we just give up at some points that, see, we are not the ones to pick these people. They already know who is going to be there. That's always been the cliche, that we already know they will pick who.
But do you see that happening in this election? Do you think there's been a shift in that order in this election, or in the period prior to the election, proper?
Like I said, there have been so much hype. There have been so much hype coming into this election, about the different intricacies, ethnicity, religion, regionalism, and a whole lot of things. He's Yoruba, he's Igbo, he's Hausa, he's this or whatever. All those things have been playing, and we know. Let's also remember that before now, the social media has not ever been like what it used to, like what
that we experienced, in the period before now.
There was not much social media at that time, but now there is social media. A lot of people are online and they are saying a lot of things. I could see the different people and saying a lot of things. So I think right now people have come out to say, let us decide our future. Let us see if we can decide our future. Many people have spoken. Now it is no more like really vote buying at don't think that exists there anymore, because people have found out that that is not the answer to the solution. Like just taking this now and then for the next 4 years you are going to either pay for that or you are paid one way or the other. So I think the people right now are ready, and with the calmness of this election, which nobody actually envisaged, it seems we are thinking the right direction.
I think, in my own perspective, for the very first time in Nigeria, because before now, all we had was voters' apathy.
It is always
youth
happened,
apathy
yes,
towards elections, towards politics, but. To me, I think something has changed in the mindset of the Nigerian youth now, because they've been more vocal this period prior to the election. But for the very first time, you walk down the streets and you actually hear the conversation change from the normal to the Nigerian youth getting really involved and personal with politics in the country, with leadership, with rulership, and of course, knowing for the first time that they have the power to change the country, and of course, join to develop and get to the place where we actually want to be. And for me, it is personal. I am passionate about this discovery, and I sincerely hope that it does not stop now. Is a feeling and a reality that goes beyond just words, that goes into action, and of course, the Nigerian youth deciding his own destiny.
Yes. So I think with that now, let me go to my second candidate.
Please do.
For the Social Democratic Party. He's a newbie in that.
Yes,
regard,
indeed he is.
And though he has come out with some kind of a level of force, some like that, and he has come to show that I am young. I am your mates. In fact, many. I'm in your level.
I'm in your league.
I'm in your league. They just that somehow God has blessed me financially to be this level, but I think I can do it. And so Adewale Adebayo, who was born in 1972, he has achieved so much, you understand, to actually get here. And his drive is that there's a need to actually change from the norm totally and then move forward. You understand? He's a lawyer, and so he's quite critical with his messages, his comments on the polity. And he's also an international lawyer who is known for what he does, and also has gotten involved with a lot of things. In fact, an international lawyer who is recognized in far away New York, in Washington, in the United States, even in London and some other parts of the world. And so he has that pedigree to also be a leader, in his own regard, and to do things the right way. But like me and you have been saying, all these things boys are down to taking their own decisions in their own hands. You say, oh, let's just look at these people. Let's line them up. Who do we actually follow? We have followed some, whether by proxy or some way we have followed, we have continued to follow them. Now this is someone new.
Someone new.
So new.
New kid on the block.
He's not even among any of it. There is no way you can trace him back to any of those people. He has not held any post before or whatever, whether by appointment or by voting, whatever. He has never held any. So he's just new in that league. And so he's known, perceived not having any form of experience in that. Will it play any part in either choosing him or not? That's left for the people to decide.
Yes, if you're just joining us, this is Nigeria at the Side, KAFTAN Television live coverage, as we bring you all the happenings today as the elections take place. We have situation report for you. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
I think this is repetitive, and maybe about what may be apparent for improvement of in future can then be talked about. But I came in, I was given announced for any country.
So who are you rooting for?
My expectation.
This is violence in Asofin Street. I'm recording this from my kitchen. An Igbo boy in my house went to cast his vote. Because it's an Igbo, as he finished casting his vote, he was attacked by 3 thugs, shouting that they are voting for Labour Party, Obi, that there's no space for anybody to vote for Obi. The guy was seriously beaten. He ran into the house. They followed him up to the staircase. Is this what we call election in Nigeria? It is a shame. Shame on Nigeria. Shame on Lagosians. Shame. It's a shame.
The voting process was okay. I was the first person to my polling center, so a little bit of struggles here and there, but I think it's going to get better as it progresses.
So, is this your first time of voting?
Actually, my first time of voting.
So, how do you feel about it?
I feel good. I feel excited. I feel that I've exercised my civic rights. So it's good. It's fulfilling.
Okay, what time did the INEC officials arrive at you?
I think they came. What's the time? They came around 10ish, about 10 a.m. thereabouts. So I was here very early, around 7 a.m. So it's still okay.
So how was the voting?
This is violence in Asofin Street. I'm recording this from my kitchen. An Igbo boy in my house went to cast his vote. Because it's an Igbo, as he finished casting his vote, he was attacked by 3.
Press with them.
Presidential nìyẹn sà. Káwọn lọ sí ìpínlẹ̀ ní o. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Yes, welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is KAFTAN Television Side Studio, where we'll bring in you happenings on the field as Nigerians go out to vote and to decide their future on a very important day as this. We have one of our people on the field all the way from Nasarawa State standing by right now to give us details of what is going on in that state as Nigerians troop out to pick who will lead them in the next 4 years. So George,
yes, welcome back. It's Evelyn, who is in Maraba in Nasarawa State. So hello, Evelyn.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
To be here. Sorry, the sun is hot.
So sorry about that. But your voice says a lot of has a lot of excitement. So what's happening in Maraba in Nasarawa State? How is the voting?
Well, so far so good. It's going well. I'm in Naibwe, Maraba, and that's the name of polling.
Hello.
Actually, voting. The INEC officials arrived here at around 9:30 a.m.
For strange gatherings and suspicious movements. Restrict access to sensitive documents and data, the disclosure of which may damage national security. Educate your staff and family, particularly on measures to safeguard information and report security breaches. Apply relevant legal security guidelines to protect yourself and your neighbors. Due to misinformation and wrong choices, some idle persons resort to vices in their greed to get rich quick. They resort to kidnapping, killings for rituals, and other heinous crimes. Avoid wrong use of the social media. Before you broadcast that false message, think twice. Ask whether it will promote peace or violence. For safety at home, still be security conscious. Educate your household on safety tips. Report all suspicious movements and persons to the security agencies nearest to you. Be a good
So what about the youths?
The youth turnout at this particular polling unit has not been encouraging, in my opinion, especially because we know that the youth population is the largest voting bloc in this election. And so we were expecting a high turnout scenario where young people would dominate the group at the polling unit. But so far, so good. Just at a glance, I would say that the elderly people are the ones at this particular polling unit. We have a few young people, but they do not make up the majority of people at this polling unit.
can you hear me, Evelyn? Evelyn, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
So I want to find out what's the ratio between men to women that are actually voting today. I would really want to find out the ratio between the men and the women. How do you balance that today from Nasarawa State, the polling unit where you are right now?
There are more men at the polling unit. I had an opportunity to speak to the wife of the community leader, and it was surprising to hear her say that her husband did not allow her go to her own polling unit to vote. She said that her polling unit is quite a distance from here. They are home because he's the community leader. The polling unit that I read, the home of the community leader, the polling unit is just right outside of that area. But the wife of the community leader is not voting. She said that her husband did not allow her to leave the house today to go all the way to her polling unit. So I see a situation where there are more men here than women. I do not know what exactly the reason is, but in this particular unit, the polling unit, there are more men than women here.
But do you think this is the reason why? Because before we started, you did tell us that we should be expecting over 700 people, and now we have this particular information coming in, and you've given us the ratio. which indicates that we have more men than women. And of course, now with the information that you've given to us, do you think this may just go ahead to like affect that unit right now in terms of voting?
Sorry, what did you say? I didn't get the question.
Yes, please, can you?
Yes, the question is that if you think, you know, with what is happening now, like what the wife of the leader over there is saying that the husband never allowed her to go to her polling unit to vote. You know, if that would affect the number of people who are supposed to vote in that particular polling unit.
Yes, of course it will. There are a number of reasons why people are coming out today. I'm sweating profusely right now. A number of people have left the polling unit simply because it's hot and they can't get water to drink, or they, you know, they feel so choked up. Some people just come to the polling unit to say hello to everyone here and leave. So people have just been coming in and going for different reasons. We can't really conclude right now what's the general reason for the poor turnout has been. Like I said, this polling unit has 750 registered voters that are qualified to vote in this particular polling unit today. And the last count I did was 115 people. The road leading to this polling unit is untarred due to the no movement as well. I think that people who are not mobile will find it difficult to find their way to this particular polling unit because it involves a lot of walking to the main road where you can even get Okada or a taxi or anything. So there are a number of reasons really, and I think that generally maybe more people would come out later in the day, I don't know. But right now the turnout has just been very poor.
All right, thank you so much, Evelyn. That's Evelyn all the way from Nasarawa State. That's a Maraba in Nasarawa State, giving us the details of happenings in that particular area. Thank you so much for your time.
Yes. Thank
All right,
you,
we'll speak to you
Evelyn.
some other
Thank
time,
you so
yeah.
much. So, yes, we want to let you know that we already have our guest in the house. Before we went on the short break, of course, before the call all the way from Nasarawa State, we're actually reeling out, some of the candidates that we have. And we said we're going to pick 4. And that was exactly what we're doing. We're going to continue from there. But first, let us introduce or let you meet our guest, who is Okenna Inebodum. He's a lawyer as well as a political analyst. It's so nice to have you in our Nigeria Decide live studio right here, in KAFTAN Television International.
Thank you for having me. Good day, Nigerians. It's a day we've all been waiting for since the past 4 years. And it seemed like it was not going to come. But here we are, 25th day of February. We've already spent over 11 hours on the 25th of February.
Of February 25th. So were you able to cast your vote before coming here?
No, the situation was very clumsy, and I couldn't. I'm not casting my vote as at the time I came in here.
When you say clumsy, how do you mean?
The materials didn't arrive at the right time.
Before you came?
Before I came in, and then the disruptions were confusion of do I call it directions between the police who are supposed to keep peace, to police the atmosphere, and the INEC authorities as to how to get people directed.
So which polling unit are you talking about right now?
Particularly Adebowale in Ojodu.
Adebowale Ojodu. So did that happen with you alone, or it was something that was...
Quite a number of people there. People came out en masse.
Okay.
And out of the 750 people there, 750 registered voters, there were close to over 600.
Whoa.
And,
so the only problem is what you've mentioned now.
Probably they are managing the crowd.
Okay.
They just have to, I'm afraid that there may be extension of time if they don't act fast in the accreditation, because the accreditation must happen before voting starts, except they change the rules and make it that once it is 2 p.m. the number of people who have accredited should go ahead and continue.
Well, that's information we have. Before we started, one of my colleagues actually showed a video that was posted to her all the way from the north, but we were rushing into the studio, so I couldn't actually get the real information where. But they were actually taking numbers because of situations like this. So they were taking numbers, and that was just before we came in. So probably the information we have also is that by the time that you mentioned 2/3 there that they recognize have been on ground, they take their information, they might just continue to do what you're supposed to do.
It would just be ideal for people to accredit, vote, and go.
And leave. That's what is supposed to
happen.
happen.
Old men, people living with disabilities under the sun. Most of those places are not conducive. We heard it from Nasarawa.
Yes, all the way from Nasarawa State.
Excruciating sun. So people should just get accredited, vote.
Just observe, or you go home based on your decision.
But what's the general? You were just out there, and so what's the general atmosphere?
Enthusiasm. Nigerians have made a statement in 2023 election, and that statement is this: that voter apathy is because of, what I call it now, what the government puts out there, or what politicians put out there, or the fact that the soundbites from the contestants are not encouraging enough or not aspiring enough for me to stake my life or stake my time to go there. Something happened differently in 2023 that made people get inspired to.
Can you tell us, as a Nigerian, can you tell us from your own observation and understanding what happened that gave that shift that you're talking about, the entire balance?
Without sounding preferential, it will be coming into the politics. It came with people who call themselves obedient, and they are majorly the Nigerian youths, and who have borne the brunt so much of the hardship that has been meted out to Nigerians by the leaders, one after another, as if the government is elected to give out dividends of hardship instead of dividends of democracy and better life. So the youth themselves saw the message of that particular candidate resonate in their heart and in their future, and they came out. You can see, for what INEC has not been able to achieve with taxpayers' money and their statutory role of getting people to come out to register to get their PVCs, just the incident of this young man coming into, the contest, there were more than 35% of the people who have never participated in politics before
going into politics,
going in to register to pick up their PVCs. The facts are there.
Just to be part of it.
Just to be part of it. And it's reflected now also. They have successfully gotten registered and have gotten their PVCs, and then are mobilizing others to come out and vote. Apart from that, too, the messages from that, change from regional religion to competence, capability, qualification, track record, and all those things.
Well, wait, coming to that now, it seems to be in our mind, that
because I have goosebumps just when you mentioned it, I had chills all over me, because these are issues we actually want to talk about. George and I have discussed about, and we really want to talk about.
Like
we didn't discuss it with you.
Ethnicity, regionalism, and religion, ethnicity, regionalism, and religion. These are the three factors that sometimes shapes or dictate the fate of the election. It has always been like that.
Of the Nigerian,
looking at what is happening now, and looking at the candidates, because we actually profiled like at least 4 candidates who we feel, will try to make something out there, and who are out there. We have the ones for the All Progressive Congress, who is Ashwaju Ahmed Tinubu from the Southwest. We have Atiku Abubakar from the Northeast. Just from the north, actually, we have from PDP, party, and from the eastern region, and we have Adiwali Adiba from
is the regionalism that we're talking about. It's always difficult to mention
do we continue to look at this? That's for 2 votes. Now I know there are 18 of them, but do we continue to look at the 3 things I have mentioned: ethnicity, regionalism, and region? Our region matters a lot. Our ethnic groups, their religion.
Okay, to the extent of our diversity as a country, we would be sensitive to region, religion, and our tribe. To that extent, that is where it matters, because our country and our constitution, the recognition of our diversity as a country, that we must belong. That is why I have the Federal Character Commission in the constitution, and that recognition means that you should give some level of inclusiveness to every region, or to also recognize that Nigeria is not a one religion state, any religion as state religion. So there must be a balance between dominant religions, because it is not only Christianity and Islam.
There are other religions.
So there must be balance. When
everyone must be represented.
Yes, when there is president, the conventions are that the vice should be from another religion.
You know what? We have a topic for this particular one. We're still doing analysis. I don't want to, because I really want us to go and delve in and talk about it. You just may be here. We're still expecting another guest. I did not want this discussion on religion, regionalism, and of course, what's the other one? I don't want it to be one-sided. I don't want it to be one-sided. We're expecting our other guests, and we want it balanced, just as everything will be balanced. But before this, we're talking about Peter Obi. When our guest comes, he probably will have something different, and we want to see the fireworks right here as we talk about this issue, because the ideas are divergent, and we can't look at it from one place, but from all sides. Now, talking about Peter Obi, which is one of the candidates today, which you mentioned, ironically, as you picked for your analysis. He happens to be on our own list. Peter Gregory Obi, born 19 July 1961, is a Nigerian businessman and politician who served as governor of Anambra from March to November 2006, February to May 2007, and June 2007 to March 2014. In May 2020, he became the Labour Party nominee for President of Nigeria in the 2023 presidential election after defecting from the People's Democratic Party. Obi ran for governor in 2003 as a member of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, but Chris Ngige was declared winner of the election. In 2006, the election of Chris Ngige was nullified, and Obi was declared winner of the 2003 election, and he assumed office in March 2006. He was impeached in November the same year, but his impeachment was overturned and he returned to office in February 2007. Now, the question I want to ask, sir, is how qualified is Obi for this office as president of Nigeria? How qualified is Obi for? Fine, you've talked about the youth. You've talked about Obi coming out to be more or less like the third force, the third or fourth leg in this race, the second, the third. It's your opinion, but I would really want, not every view, because like I said about what you were talking about, another guest will come and tell you for entirely. But how qualified, in your opinion, since you picked that gentleman for your analysis, do you think he is to be president of this nation?
First of all, let me disabuse the mind of our listeners. It is not my thinking, it's not my opinion to get him qualified. What qualifies him is the Constitution.
Okay, that's interesting.
Correct.
Yes?
So, whatever qualifies any candidate to be in this ballot is statutory.
Anyway, Anyways, sorry, I'm so sorry, but we have to go on a very short break now. So because we need to get to the field, we need to speak to one of our correspondents who is in far away now to talk to us. So we'll go for a very short break and come back discussing the topic at hand.
the dispatch unit on time. As early as 6 a.m., the INEC officials had already started dispatching the electoral material, both sensitive and the non-sensitive. And in some of the polling units, voting commenced exactly around 9 a.m. Some of the polling units we visited, like the Chagwa polling unit, voting commenced there at 8:50. That's 10 minutes to 9. And that's the polling unit where the APC gubernatorial candidate, where he voted. And the voter turnout in Bida local government as a whole has been quite impressive, as opposed to the predicted voter apathy that has been going around the media for some time now. The voter turnout has been impressive, and the coordination of the security agencies has been quite impressive also, and generally it has been very okay.
Yes, in fact, I wanted to ask you about the security and the rest of them, but let's look at now, because INEC did say that a lot of youths did vote, register for this voting. So, in the polling units that you saw, were there more youths than the adults?
So far, we have visited about 5 polling units in Bida local government, and as opposed to the position of the INEC, if you look at the age pattern in turnout, it has been more of the elderly above the youth. That is to say, the aged ones have turned out for voting more than the youth. If you put the ratio side by side.
So now, what of the ratio between the men and the women?
Come again, please.
Yes, I said, what of the ratio between the men and the women? Because you know that is up north, and so most times the women are not allowed to take part in this kind of a thing. So, but what is the ratio like?
No. The women, the turnout for the women here has been very, very impressive. Like even more than the men.
Okay, so I want to find out what happened. The information we have at Yabagi Sani, that is alleged vote buying by APC officials at Masaba 2 Ward polling unit 10, Bida local government in United States, near the polling unit of presidential candidate of Action Democratic Party, ADP. What exactly happened or is happening there?
Okay, according to one of the party agents, he alleged that some officials whom he claimed to be officials of the All Progressive Congress came with some materials believed to be some clothing to distribute to some of the electorates that later resulted into kind of altercation between both parties. But then it has been since been resolved, and voting has continued smoothly after them. So
there is no more vote buying of any sort?
We can't outrightly say there is no more vote buying, but after the material time when the incident happened, it has been put on hold and everything has gone back to normalcy.
All right, Francis, that's the much we can take. But I want to thank you so much for a job well done. And I'm sure you're going to some other local governments too.
Yes, we're heading back to Mina now. By the time we get back to Mina, we'll be available to bring you feed from Mina, the state capital of Nigeria.
All right, thank you so much. Francis will be with you later.
You're welcome.
Well, that's Francis Adeniyi from Bida, and but we'll see have our guest here in the studio. You know, and,
there's something hanging.
Yes, something hanging, and then the question was asked. So I think you need to drop that before we fire you some more.
Okay, she talked about qualification.
Yes.
And that qualification requirement is not for P2B alone.
Okay.
It is in section 131 of the Constitution, actually, that anybody of age, actually it used to be 40 before 2018, that he must a Nigerian citizen age requirement, then it must have been educated up to, and that is another fight we're going to put up because the position of the president of this country.
Yeah, well, now before you go, you say it's a fight that you need to fight.
Yes,
but let's look at it very well. Must anybody actually achieve, an educational qualification to a particular level to actually contest for the presidency of a nation, of this nation?
George, it is necessary. What should the qualification to be on this studio, to be employed there?
I think this is an employment thing.
Oh, the president is not an employment.
Well, I think...
it's not an employment?
Well, let me look
at... They are contesting to be hired, to be chief executive.
But if this
and then to be commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the federal...
If the man or if the woman...
million people.
If the man or the woman who is to contest, is a businessman or a woman who has been able to use his or her primary school certificates to run a business that employed people who are like me, people who are higher than me in education.
George, I wish we could go on and on. Our next guest is here, but you're still here with us. Our guest, Okena Nebudum, is still here with us, but we need to call in our next guest. And of course, we're still here, he's still here, and we'll continue on that thought. So we'll also go anywhere as we take a short break. We'll be right back.
A new day has come for the citizens of Nigeria. The 2023 general elections are upon us. The change we wish for can only happen when we come out in unity and cast our votes.
example, the Social Democratic Party, New Nigeria People's Party, and the Labour Party, to mention a few, seem to have changed the electoral dynamics or not, like people say. Now, we shall be discussing some of the realities on the emergence of viable third force parties, matters arising. Our guest is already here, but before we do that, we have to take a call all the way from Abuja. George.
Yes, welcome back. We're still here to discuss the ongoing presidential election of 2023, an election everybody has been expecting. But we have a reporter who is far away in Abuja, Federal Capital Territory. Hello, Victoria.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I hope you are doing great over there.
Yes, I am.
So,
everything here is going on well.
All right. So, how is the situation over there? Are people voting, and is there any form of a voter's apathy?
Okay, actually, I am presently at the collection center in Abuja, where a immediate press briefing is ongoing. It's going to commence in the next 2 minutes. However, I have been to some polling units in Abuja here, where such as the 101 polling unit was sent at Sokoro, and witness party agents waiting concerns on the number of ballot papers there as they were not corresponding. Some of the papers that were counted.
The citizens seem pretty pumped up and eager to, to carry out their civic duties. But however, the major issue that they have at that unit, which still, as at the time I was living, had not yet been resolved, is the fact that 90% of the female population there were not able to cast their votes.
Why?
Okay, because on their INEC cards, their PVCs, their details are correct, including gender. On the list, pasted, for participants of that particular polling unit, everything correct, show as male rather than female. And for that fact, they are not being allowed to cast their votes. And I argued and I said that the sensible thing to do would be if their faces correspond
and every other detail
correspond, and you are able to verify from their INEC cards, you shouldn't stop them
from casting
their votes. And as at last count before coming, over 20 people, had not voted.
Similar problem.
Because of that,
90%.
90% there. For the turnout that we have in that unit, there's just, which makes the process pretty slow. And then they will be done by the 2:30 deadline that has been proposed.
Now, sorry, George,
anyway, before we go on, please, if you want to join us for this particular discussion on the 2023 election, you can please call the lines or the number on our screen, 603-647. You should call that number right now. So, you were saying.
Now tell us about a similar problem, and now you're actually bringing this to us, and the statistic that you've given to us, 90%, is making my head reel. And I'm just wondering if at the end of the day we're going to have more of this from across all states in Nigeria. How do you see this happening now? How do you see it affect the final results, and of course voters' expectation and credibility, of the whole system at the end of the day?
Okay, well, it's a real snag, and I do not think the INEC foresaw this, and in reality, I do not feel that that is enough, to actually stop people from voting, because if every other detail corresponds